The potential of impulse responses, a complete guide for string players. Welcome back to 3D Various. In today's video we want to talk about impulse responses, or IRs, and their game-changing impact on string players, whether we have an electric instrument or an acoustic one equipped with a pickup. So let's explore how these IR files can take your sound from this to this. Impulse responses are crucial technology that has emerged in recent years, and we believe that they have great value for string players. In today's video we will cover three main points. First, I will explain what an impulse response is. Second, we will discuss how we can utilize impulse responses in live performances and why they can be beneficial. Lastly, we will explore how impulse responses sound and some creative ways of using them. By the end, I hope you will have a better understanding of whether this technology is right for you, including its benefits and drawbacks. Okay, what is an impulse response and why is it useful? Technically, an impulse response is just a digital file that captures how an acoustic space reacts to a signal, specifically an impulse. Traditionally, impulse responses have been used to simulate reverberation in spaces like concert halls or churches, capturing their own characteristics such as size or ceiling height. However, impulse response can also be used to simulate the acoustics of our instruments. I would say that in recent years it has become more and more popular among electric guitarists to generate and play with cabinet IRs. Based on the same principle of capturing the space of reverberation of a room, we can imitate the process of analyzing the size of a smaller place as it can be a box. So remember that traditionally a guitar needs to be connected to an amp, which at the same time produces the sound thanks to the speakers inside this cabinet. Some guitar cabinets can be really big with several speakers, and that speaker and cabinet size brings a specific color to the final sound of the instrument. So with this new technology we can imitate that specific tone in order to have the same digital effect without the need of using a physical amplifier. Say that we string players can do the same with our little box and capture the resonance body of the instrument in order to imitate an acoustic sound even without having one. Generally, these IRs are just audio files, wave format, that often lasts not even a second. And this tiny file has a lot of information, which on the other hand looks and works as a very detailed EQ. And for many, this is what an IR it is, a very detailed copy of the sound or EQ of any instrument or space. So as you can see on the screen, this IR has several ups and downs in order to simulate the sound of this specific violin. So gathering what I have mentioned here, impulse responses are the response to a specific impulse or sound in a particular environment. The three main basic uses are for reverbs, speaker caps, and instrument resonance bodies. Which takes me to the next point, which is why use an impulse response? Do I need one? Well, basically, by applying an impulse response to the dry piezo signal, we can achieve a tone that reminds more of an acoustic sound captured by a microphone. This is useful not only for acoustic instruments, but also for electric violins that needs to cover both electric and acoustic sounds in some performance settings. So if you have some gigs where you just need to play one or two songs with this more traditional sound of a violin, this is a solution instead of taking a second instrument with you. We have talked before about some reasons why electric instruments can be way better than acoustics, depending on the situation. In general, there are different reasons why sounding acoustic might become handy sometimes. And maybe an electric violin has its own benefits, but what about playing acoustic instruments with pickups? We string players are often very picky with the sound of our instrument, and it is always a pity when, despite spending a lot of money for a good violin, it ends up sounding not as good as you paid for. So here it is a good moment for getting an IR. There are different kinds of IRs. In general, you can also create your own IR from the sound of your own acoustic instrument, but I would just suggest to try different IRs to better match the tone that you're looking for or the tone of your acoustic violin, viola, or cello, in order to sound more real, even if you are using a pickup. Okay, but how does it sound? So far we have discussed what they are and why it is handy to have this in your palette of possibilities, but how does it really sound? Well, for the sake of this video, I will focus on violin or viola IRs since I don't play the cello very well. So first of all, here you have some examples of how it would sound on an electric violin. But this is just one of the possibilities that you have. You can also sound like this. And well, that's because you can get some IRs from different violins getting their specific ways of sounding. But what happens if you have 5 or even 6 strings? You might want to try the viola or cello resonance bodies to see if they fit better to the tone you are looking for. For example, this. Okay, in these examples, I used some reverb and EQ just to match the sound I was looking for. You might try also to mix the dry signal of the instrument with the IR signal to best match your sound. And this takes me to another point to consider if you are planning to play with IRs on live settings. So you most probably will need to get an additional gear to use them. How to use an IR, the gear needed. If you plan to record only at the studio, there are several plugins for DAWs that will get the job done. But since we are mostly talking about live concert settings, you will most probably need an additional pedal to process the sound of the instrument. There are nowadays many brands producing single stump boxes with IR loaders, but not all of the current pedals allow you to upload custom or instrument IRs. Some of them will allow you, but won't let you change the signal change order, or it will only allow you to adjust the volume and not to mix the signal. So here we recommend using some advanced pedal processors, such as the Houghton Ampero 2 or the Line 6 Helix series. We normally recommend adding these IR pedals at the early stages of the pedal chain, so you get the cleanest sound to work with it later. And I need to mention that the quality of input responses is very important. So it is essential to choose high quality IRs in order to then process the sound of your instrument. And here in Trinivarius, we had prepared at the studio some high quality IRs for all stringed instruments. So if you are interested, dive into our website for more information. We'll prepare a second video about that in any case. In conclusion, input responses are a valuable tool for string players, whether we play acoustic or electric instruments. They can transform the sound of your instrument, adding depth, resonance, and acoustic characteristics that might be missing from the direct pickup signal. With the usage of input response loading pedals, it has become easier than ever to incorporate this technology into live performances, so I encourage you to explore and experiment with these IRs to discover the possibilities that you can get from them. I am Eduardo Bortolotti from Trinivarius. I hope you found this video informative, but now it's your turn. Have you tried input responses before? How do you like them? Was this technology new for you, or you have heard about it before? I will wait for your answers in the comments below, and if you have any questions or suggestions for future topics, feel free to leave them there as well. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.